Villagers will be nerfed in 1.21 Minecraft update. Hello there, Ray here. Let me explain what's going to change in 1.21 and the new meta solution I came up for it. A couple minutes ago, they just fixed this bug report where you'll no longer be able to get extremely cheap villager trades just by constantly having a villager be converted over to a zombified villager and then turning around and actually curing this zombie villager. Then when it converts back into a villager, it then lowers the price on all the things it's selling and will give you more emeralds for the things that it's buying from you because you saved it from being a zombie. Now, since this fix is not out yet, we don't know exactly how they're going to fix this, but we can get a pretty good idea by understanding how the villager actually gives discounts to players. So if we look at the data of this villager right here, it will tell us pretty much everything that's going on behind the scenes, like how much health it has, what items it's trying to sell for what prices. But when it comes to villagers giving discounts, that's based on the reputation of the player that's trading with them. This is based off several factors, including the trading value, their major positive, their minor negative, and major negative. That's a lot to remember, so let's remove a couple of them. We don't really care about the minor negative one because you only get this one for attacking villagers. So just don't attack your villager, and same thing for major negative. You only get that one for killing a villager, so just avoid that as well. So all we have to focus on is major positive, minor positive, and trading. So the major positive value will go up every time you cure a villager, and the number will go up by 20. So this villager we have in front of us, we can see that its major value is set to 80, meaning that we cured it 4 different times. But there's a limit to how much we can cure a villager before it won't reduce its prices anymore. This is called the max value. So for the major positive, max value is set to 100, meaning after we do 5 cures this villager, we'll reach the maximum value. We won't be able to get any lower discounts. Another important point for the major positive is that this type of discount doesn't decay over time. So once you put in a bunch of effort to cure a bunch of villagers, you don't have to worry about them raising their prices later on. This is different for the next one we're going to look at, which is minor positive. This is also given during curing, so every time you cure the villager, it will give you a value of 25. So if we look at our example in game here, we can see our minor positive value is set to 97. We know that we cured this villager 4 times, meaning it should be 100, but it's a little bit lower than 100. This is because the minor positive value decays over time. So every 20 minutes that goes by, it will decay by this decay number, which is 1 for the minor positive. The minor positive also has a maximum which it can reach, which is a value of 200, meaning that if you cure the villager 8 times, you can reach this maximum value. Later on, we'll take a look at how important the minor positive is compared to the major positive. Now let's look at the trading factor. So for trading, it's pretty straightforward. Every time you do 1 trade with the villager, a value of 2 will be added to the trading value. There's also a maximum, which is 25. So doing more trades beyond this won't actually help you lower the prices. But just like the minor positive, there's also a decay time where you will lose 2 points every 20 minutes. So what does all this mean when it comes to actually getting discounts? So I made this chart here to make it easier to understand. Right here where it says OG price, that's the original price. So let's say a villager is trying to sell us something that costs a total of a whole stack of emeralds, which is the highest price it could sell something for. And then just beside it is the new discount price. It uses this formula here, which is a combination of the amount of trades that you did, how much major positive you have times 5, how much minor positive you have, how much major negative you have times 5, and how much minor negative you have. It also takes into account the price multiplier. The price multiplier is a way for villagers to give a bigger discount on the more expensive stuff that they're selling. The normal items will have a price multiplier of 0.05, where more high quality items will have a multiplier of 0.2. This will make more sense once we plug some numbers in here. So let's say we got a normal item with a normal multiplier. Then we do 1 curing, which will give us a 20 for the major positive, and it will give us a 25 for the minor. So you can see with just 1 curing, we got the price down from 64 down to 58. But keep in mind the minor positive would eventually run out. So if we set that back to 0, the price just went up by 1. So this tells us that every time we cure it, we can bring the price down by 5 emeralds. Where the minor positive isn't really that important, as it only brings it down by 1 emerald each time. So if we would cure it a second time, we could drop it down a total of 10 emeralds, 3 cures, then 4 cures, and then with 5 cures, we reach the maximum of the major positive being 100, getting the discount from 64 all the way down to 39. Now luckily for the normal items, the prices never actually cost an entire stack of emeralds, and instead are much lower. And as you can see, this makes the discount show negative, but the prices can only go down to 1 emerald. And this is why we do a bunch of trades. It all ends up being ones over here and never goes down to 0. But some items do cost up to 64 emeralds, and these are considered the high value ones, which give you that better discount with the price multiplier being 0.2. We can see this also makes a drastic change, putting this down to -36, and is why items like diamond and enchanted books, despite costing a lot in the beginning, can actually be brought down all the way down to the cheapest prices with just 3 or 4 cures. So now that we understand the basics of how villagers use reputation to give discounts, let's see how the nerf in 1.21 is going to affect the game. So the bug report is focused on how multiple curings is causing the price to get so low that it makes Hero of the Village useless. Now, Hero of the Village is an effect that the player can get after killing off an entire raid that's going after a village, and in Java you can get a discount as high as 55% on all villager trades up to 40 minutes after the raid. But people don't even use Hero of the Village for discount trades because curing villagers just does a way better job, and the effect never goes away like Hero of the Village does. So now that we understand that the bug report is trying to fix multiple curings, we can actually conclude how they will nerf the villagers and come up with a solution already. If you learned something new so far, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I have over 1,000 videos about the technical workings of the Minecraft game. The most straightforward fix that they would probably do is just change the max value that you can get from cures. Instead of being 100, change it to 20. So this would mean we can only do 1 curing of a villager. So let's see how this goes. We'll go ahead and cure this one up. So we did 1 curing on this guy. Now let's go ahead and open up all the trades and see what the values are. Okay, so we did a bunch of trading, so he's now a master level, so we can see everything that he's offering to sell. We only did 1 curing, and we can see some of the more expensive stuff, like the stuff that costs 20. We actually got all the way down to just 1 emerald. But some things that are a little bit more expensive, like this bell, still cost 6 emeralds. So let's see what's going on here with our little chart. So we currently are trying to purchase a bell for a cheaper price. Luckily, the bell does have the nicer price multiplier. Our bell cost us 36 emeralds to begin with, and that means if we would do our 1 curing, we'll get a discount all the way down to 16, but we also did a bunch of trading with them, so we're probably maxed out at 25 as well. And because we cured them, we also are getting the discount for the minor positive, so that means our bell should cost us 6 emeralds, and that's exactly what we're seeing in the game, 6 emeralds. But if we come back to purchase our bell at a later time, it's not going to be 6 emeralds because all the trades that we did are going to decay over time, so it's eventually go back down to 0. And so is the curing minor positive. It's also going back down to 0 as well, meaning the price will jack back up to 16 emeralds. And it's not really worth it to constantly cure these villagers every time you just want to get a bit of a discount. And it's also not really feasible to constantly trade for other things just to get the price down of something else. And so probably just end up using more emeralds, which you could just use to purchase something at a bit more expensive price, which by purchasing you also are increasing your trading score, which will help get the price down again. So after they do this nerf, is there a long-term solution to get this price down low and keep it down low? Well, there is one other way you can get a discount, and that is with Hero of the Village. It has its own formula, which is a bit complicated, but I went ahead and plugged it into the spreadsheet here. So with Hero of the Village 5, which isn't too difficult to get with my Hero of the Village raid farm, it will take the original price of 36 emeralds and bring it down to 17. But if we combine this with the discount that we get from the curing, price goes all the way down to -3, meaning that it would just cost 1 emerald. So if we would give ourselves Hero of the Village 5, and if we trade with the villager, we can see the price did in fact reach all the way down to the minimum of 1 for a bell. Also, by the way, these discounts don't actually apply to wandering traders. So whatever price they put it at, you're just gonna have to pay. So now that we know that Hero of the Village has a big impact on it and lasts a decent amount of time, let's see the best way to get it. You guys are probably aware that I created the first raid farms, including the first stacking wave farm, and we also made the first stacking raid farm. So using my Hero of the Village farm with Bad Omen, which gets then converted over into starting a raid, this farm is automatically set up so that you will move up and down, allowing your player to actually get the Hero of the Village. And this also stacks all the waves, so you can kill off all the different raiders and go through all 7 waves. Meaning that you will get the most chances to get access to the captains, and every captain is going to give you a higher Bad Omen level. You can see we're already up to level 3 Bad Omen, now we're up to 4, now we're up to 5. And 5 is the max you need in order to get the level 5 Hero of the Village. So now with the raid complete, When the player gets dropped down past the villager down here, it will start the next raid. This is all done automatically, and all you need to have is auto clicker clicking here every once in a while. And if you run this properly, you never have to worry about Vex spawning in. If you do get Vex, you're either clicking too fast or too slow. And if you kill one of the raiders while being inside the village, which my farm is timed so that you will get this randomly if the first raider comes down quite quickly. But you can always adjust the timings. That means I will be rewarded with Hero of the Village no matter how far away I am. So after defeating a Bad Omen level 5 raid, you'll get that Hero of the Village 5. Of course, you'll get free gifts as a benefit, but you also get cheaper prices, up to 55% discounted. And with it combined with the curing, you can actually get a lot of prices down to the value of 1. So with the most expensive regular item being 32 emeralds normally, we can drop it down to 27 just with the curing, and with the additional Hero of the Village, we get it down to 10. With the most expensive luxury items, going up to 64 emeralds, we get it down to 44 with the curing, and down to 9 with the additional Hero of the Village 5. But if we are smart, we can take advantage that the original price for a lot of these luxury items are actually a range between a low and a high. So if you find a luxury item for the price of 21 emeralds or lower, just by giving it 1 cure, we can actually get the price all the way down to 1, essentially replicating how it was before without having to do the extra work of getting a Hero of the Village discount. Now for normal items, you would have to find one that has the price of emeralds set for 6 or lower in order to get the discount to be down to 1 emerald with just a single cure. So if you're using curing plus Hero of the Village, but you want to get the price all the way down to 1, the highest the price can be is 45 for luxury items and 12 for regular items. So knowing this, what common things can you buy from villagers at their lowest price? We talked about how you could buy the armors, so you can find a villager selling it for the price of 21 or lower. Enchanting bottles can easily be brought down to 1 emerald each. Same thing for golden carrots for food. When it comes to enchanted books, you do have to be a little bit careful because books with level 5 enchantments on them cost between 17 to 64 emeralds, so you'll have to look for villagers at least sell them as low as 21 if you want to purchase them for 1 after 1 cure. So it'd be a bit like the olden days where you have to look for villagers that are selling stuff for a cheap price. Now for name tags, it's best to probably just build my AFK fish farm, which also gives treasure loot, because you can't bring the price down to 1. Now some people do use villagers to trade for quartz blocks, where the price is always set to the lowest, but still not worth it compared to getting your quartz from an automatic gold and bartering farm. Like the diamond things before, the other diamond tools can also be purchased for 1 emerald each if you find a villager that at least sells for the price of 21 or lower. For bales, you can't get the price down to 1 emerald, but this is the only way you can get them, so you just got to pay the price. And diamond weapons can also be purchased for 1 if you look for the right villager. A lot of people trade with villagers to actually get emeralds in the first place, especially early game. So let's take a look at the typical things that people would sell to villagers and see which one is the best now since we only could do 1 cure. Iron's still a good one because you can get down to just trading 1 iron for 1 emerald. And if you build my simple iron farm, you can get plenty of emeralds this way. Coal probably won't be worth it as much now. Same goes for selling white dye. Stone's also not as good because you have to get quite a bit of it. Using a squid farm, you can get a lot of ink sacs and you can sell those for 1 emerald each. You can get a lot of leather from my simple hoglin farm, and you can sell each of them for 1 emerald, which makes it good. Tripwire is a bit expensive, but you can use this tripwire dupe, which I'll link below with everything else I mentioned. Feathers are now considered quite expensive. String is also not as feasible, and sticks are actually one of the most expensive things, so bringing the price down by 5 isn't going to help you much. It's going to take much more fish in order to get emeralds now. Now crops are often used by players just because there's so many different ones you could sell to a farmer before it locks up and have to refresh your trades. But it's also going to take more crops now that you can't get as low as discount. Gold ingots are still good where you can sell 1 per emerald, but rotten flesh are not, as they're the most expensive type of item, unless you're just trying to get rid of it. Paper is another one that's commonly used, but it's quite expensive. And if you're looking to get a particular farm, I do actually have a series on YouTube where I'm designing a farm for everything in the game of Minecraft, and it's neatly organized in this spreadsheet down in the description. But what about the infinite emerald trick, where you could come in here, purchase a bookshelf for the lowest price of 1 emerald, then you would take your bookshelf and just place it down and break it into the items, which produces 3 books. Then you can turn around and sell each book for 1 emerald each, meaning that you just turned 1 emerald into 3 emeralds. You can just repeat this process to get as many emeralds as possible, although it's quite tedious. Well, as you can see, I just did a single cure on this villager, so the bookshelves would have been discounted 5 emeralds, going from 9 down to 4, so 1 cure isn't going to be enough to continuously use this trick. The video where I covered this trick as well as the zombie curing is actually one of my most watched videos of all time. But there's a second way you can perform this trick, and that is actually by purchasing the glass. It's always sold for the cheapest of 1 emerald for 4 of them. And if we would buy a total of 6 of these, meaning that we get 24 glass, then we turn all 24 into panes, which gives us 16 panes each, which gives us a whole entire stack of them. Then take your glass panes over to a cartographer who will actually purchase glass panes. You can't get the price down with the curing, in which case you'll get a total of 12 emeralds when you originally had 6 emeralds, so you doubled your emeralds. Or if you also have Hero of the Village, then you can sell each pane for 1 emerald each, meaning you can get 64 emeralds, 10 timesing your emeralds, even though they nerfed the curing. But the best way to get emeralds simply is just by using my simple raid farm here. The only tough thing is bringing in a single villager. Everything else is just a few blocks. This farm will be able to let you continue to get raid after raid after raid, and it produces thousands of emeralds per hour. I will link that one as well as my Hero of the Village version down in the description so you guys can get plenty of emeralds that you could then use with the combination of a cured villager to get the prices down low. As well, you don't have to worry about selling so much stuff to the villagers to get your emeralds in the first place. But what if you already have villagers in your world which have been cured a total of 5 times and therefore they sell everything for the price of 1? Will you be able to keep these old villagers in your world when upgraded? This actually goes back to how villagers save the reputation that they have with the player and ultimately give the discount. So by looking at the villagers data here, we can see that it keeps track of the stuff like how many trades you did with it, as well as how much major and minor positive it has. And because you can get the value up to the maximum of 100 before upgrading, you can actually smuggle over the super cheap villagers. So make sure to go ahead and get all the villagers that you want down to a price of 1 by carrying them at least 5 times before updating your world. Now see way crazier tricks and glitches with this playlist here. If you have $1 to spare, consider becoming a supporter of mine. Those links down below, and you can even get your name on screen. Share this with your fellow Minecrafters and credit Ray's works, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!